Welcome to another episode of Cooking with Grandma. Today we'll be making Cơm Tấm, which is broken rice.
Oh, I like Japanese food. Shabu shabu udon too. Takoyaki dessert too.
Today, Grandma is cooking her own version of Cơm Tấm, otherwise known as broken rice. You need a lot of ingredients to make broken rice. It's not an easy dish to complete. The ingredients are pork chops or your choice of meat, vermicelli noodles and dried fungus, spring onions, garlic, eggs, sauces and vegetables. The first step is to prepare the meat. Grandma is making the jar, which is a steamed meatloaf. She begins by seasoning the minced meat, which is a chicken and prawn. Mix the mince with salt, pepper, spring onion, sesame oil and other seasonings. Next, add the noodles and fungus into the mince. Mix it all up with a clean hand. Delana is now separating the egg yolk. This will go on top of the jar. Pour the egg whites into the mixture. A very hands-on procedure. Put the mixture into a bowl and steam. Later, Grandma will place the egg yolks on top and continue to steam until cooked. Next, we marinate the meats. We have two types of meats. The main protein is the pork chop, and the second meat will complement the Cơm Tấm as a side dish. She uses soy sauce, sugar, liquor to marinate the pork chops. Grandma is now frying pieces of pork. These pieces will be thinly chopped up and complement the Cơm Tấm as a side dish. Add the egg yolks to the jar and let it cook. The Vietnamese meat cake has been created. Grandma is now mixing the pork and noodles together. She also adds fried shallots for a bit of crunch. Fry the spring onions in oil. She will later place this on top of the broken rice. We also have vegetables prepared. The main vegetables in Cơm Tấm is tomato and cucumber. She's now deep frying chicken for Delana because she doesn't eat pork. And frying the pork for myself. Haha, thanks Grandma. Now to prepare our plate. Rice. The pork and dried noodles. A piece of that meat cake known as jam. Add your choice of meat. Throw in a few veggies. A fried egg is very, very important. And then finish it with some fish sauce. And there you go, Grandma's broken rice is now complete. Cơm Tấm is probably the most iconic Vietnamese rice dish. You can find them at most Vietnamese restaurants, and it's definitely worth trying. And it is now finally time to eat Grandma's Cơm Tấm.
Broken rice.
I love it. Look at the variety, the colors. Oh, it smells so good too. I can't wait to dig in.
Can we just eat now,
Yes.
please?
Here's your cutlery.
Ooh.
Ooh. So there are many ways you can eat Cơm Tấm. There's no right or wrong way, to be honest. You just need a spoon, maybe a fork. And but my way that I like eating it is to cut up the meat. So this pork chop,
I'll hold it for you.
Oh, thank you. And then I will just slice up the pork chop, the chicken for Delana, and then I would mix up all the ingredients, put in some Vietnamese fish sauce, and then just enjoy. Or you can just leave it as it is and just pick and choose what you want to eat first. Leave the best to last or whatever you want to do. Or you can mix it all up, chuck in the sauce, and you got some delicious Cơm Tấm. Oh, I'm salivating.
Can you cut mine too, please?
Yes, okay.
So mine's a chicken chop.
Chicken chop for Delana, I got the pork chop. Chicken chop is actually a really good alternative because these chops are so juicy, so flavorful. And sometimes it's actually even better than pork because the pork tends to get a little bit dry. But the chicken, however, very juicy, very delicious.
Chicken's the way to go.
This is the fish sauce. I don't know if you can. Oh my god, this plate is so full. I'm scared like everything's going to... You know what? I'm just going to break it apart first.
Okay.
So what I'll do is I'll break that jar. And then I would break into the egg, the rice, and mix it all up. This plate is not big enough. Ooh.
Yeah, show that closer, closer.
Oh, yeah.
And then you mix it all up.
Thank you, Grandma.
And then
Oh.
this jar, this
Oh, yeah.
is what it looks like.
I really like broken rice. The Vietnamese really do not waste anything. When it comes to like even pig or cow, they eat every part of the body. And I feel like they do that with rice too, because broken rice is pretty much just the rice that they grow and put into the factory, and the rice breaks in half. That usually could go to waste, but they reuse that and use it for cơm tấm.
I'm just gonna be over here making my
Yeah,
plate.
you do your little food experiment over there. This is probably my favorite. No, it definitely is my favorite rice dish. Vietnamese rice dish. It's so delicious. And once again, I'm the type of guy who really enjoys variety. I don't really like one specific thing, but with this, there's so much you can choose from, and it all just molds together so well. Like, you get a perfect bite if you get every little piece of ingredient on this dish.
They're so pretty. Like, I love how
like
it
that?
feels.
Yeah.
And the pink on it as well. I love it.
These are the unreleased Chasing Food Cutlery set. Oh, what happened?
Oh, nothing.
No.
Oh my god! It's so delicious. And I always like to just have the cucumber as a whole just so I can take a bite of it. Like, yeah.
Absolutely delicious. I enjoy eating cơm tấm at your grandma's house more than the cơm tấm in Vietnam, because just the ingredients are better, higher quality. Even the recipe that your grandma makes is just a lot better as well.
I never get cơm tấm in restaurants because it's always with pork. So I always just eat it at home because usually the jar is also made from pork. But my grandma uses chicken mince instead, and also with the pork chop. And even with the shredded pork that they usually do at the restaurants, my grandma makes it with the tofu instead. So I can eat everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, this cơm tấm doesn't give you stomach aches like the one I got in Vietnam.
Oh.
I think 5 people out of our friends, our group of friends, got food poisoning from a very popular cơm tấm place in Saigon, in Vietnam. And it scarred a lot of people from eating cơm tấm, but I didn't get sick, so I'm okay. But yeah, which brings
Oh yeah, you did.
another fan favorite question is, what are the worst moments you've had overseas? I got injured once in Hawaii.
Yes. When we went hiking.
Sprained my ankle and ruined hiking for me forever. I was never a fan of hiking, and that just justified it. And yeah.
We're just not a fan of exercising.
Also, when I jumped down it was like a jumping castle slide
Oh, in
in Japan during season 2.
Yep.
I rolled my neck, and those injuries last a while. They were big injuries. For example, my neck injury lasted about 7 months afterwards. I couldn't turn my neck like here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was max. It was like there. Now I can do that, but before it was kind of just there, and it would be shooting pains because when I landed, I cracked about 8 parts on my neck. I could hear it go. It was really bad. And then that next day, I couldn't even go out. You guys went to Miyajima. I stayed
And
at
that
the
was the
hotel.
first time I had to take care of filming by myself. And that was when we just started doing travel vlogs as well. So I was really shy and
How was
I
that
didn't know what to
experience?
do.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was really nervous. But lucky we were with the guys, so it helped a lot.
Let's say we did another travel vlog in the future and
Yeah.
I was sick for one day. Could you possibly go out and film a whole day's worth of content by yourself?
Like just me.
Yeah, and I'm in the hotel. And you have to do like a food adventure. A solo Delana YouTube video.
I think I can.
Mmm.
I feel a lot more comfortable with it now. And because whenever I film now, I always just imagine you guys there with me. So if I was to be by myself, it wouldn't really feel like I'm by myself. It would just feel like you guys are there with me when I film. So I think I'll be fine with it, really.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. Like the time when you hurt your neck during snowboarding in the Sapporo season.
Oh yeah.
And I had
that
to
was
film by
another
myself.
Injury I had.
I was a little bit like, by myself, it feels a bit weird. It's been a long time since I filmed by myself. Especially like reviewing food in front of people who understand English too. And if I say something stupid, they'll just, I feel like in the back of my head, I'm like a bit nervous and I don't want to say any dumb stuff. But at the same time, once I click that record button, I kind of forget my surroundings and I forget the people around me. I just focus on the camera and the food and you guys. So yeah, it's nervous, bit nerve-wracking, but at the same time pretty good. The ankle injury, that one lasted about maybe 11 months because I got back from Hawaii. I rolled it from hiking. It was raining and I just walking. It was the end of the hike and I was walking towards the car and I rolled my ankle and it just did 11 months worth of damage. I had to go to physio and
Oh my god.
I think the biggest problem was that I continued playing volleyball while I was injured. I just put on an ankle strap and I just kept on playing and I didn't let it heal. So the injury went on for 11 months. I would wake up during cold mornings and get out of bed and step on the floor. And this was like 6 months later and shooting pains I would feel it on my ankle. So yeah, it wasn't the best thing to do.
My worst experience while traveling would probably be in Bali. When I was with the girls. I didn't go with John. It was a girls' trip. And we got stranded there because the volcano in Bali was about to erupt. So I don't know if you guys remember that. I think it was like a few years back on the news. It was pretty much just about to erupt and I was right there in Bali and then our flights home got cancelled and we didn't have a way home. I think the next flight available was like 2 or 3 weeks after the original flight. So like, what do we do? You know, a volcano is about to erupt and we're stuck here in Bali with no way home. And, you know, the skies were all foggy and smoky and it was just like a really scary time because everyone was trying to get home. And I also had food poisoning while that was happening. So it was really, really bad because we didn't want to wait 2 to 3 weeks to go home. We caught we had this minivan that took us to a different city. Oh my god, I think that drive was like 12 hours or something, just in a van. And I was like sick. My stomach was hurting. I needed to go to the toilet like every freaking 2 hours or 3 hours, but I had to like hold it in until we got to the next pit stop. And it was a really bad time. And then after the van, we had to catch a boat to another city, and I think that was a few hours, and I get seasick, so I get really seasick on boats, and it was a really bad time. Now that I'm thinking about it, it was really, really sad. Like, I remember just thinking like, oh, I wish that I could just be home right now. But we got to another city, and then from there, we had to catch a flight to Brunei. And then that was a few hours, and then from Brunei, then we had to wait, I don't know, I think 10 hours for the next flight back to Melbourne.
Jeez.
So then from Brunei, we went back home to Melbourne, and obviously that's like a 9-hour flight, and I think we spent like 2 days just traveling home, 2-3 days.
I remember picking you up at the airport from that trip, and it was the worst and dirtiest and just a horrible condition.
So that was one of my worst experiences with traveling.
1 in 1,000 chance that like something like a natural kind of thing happens like that.
Yeah.
Mother Nature sometimes might ruin your trip.
Well,
and
it's Mother Nature now.
Yeah.
No more traveling for anybody.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, we miss traveling so much. We really want to get back into travel vlogs. We didn't know what we had until it was gone.
Yeah, home vlogs are nice too. Just like sitting down chatting with you guys. It's nice too.
No, it's fun.
But, you know, we love to take you guys around. So traveling, of course, is a lot funner.
So we should be food guides. A little group of 10 people will follow us on like our trips in Japan, and we take them to the best
That's
areas
so
to eat.
cute.
And we all like eat together at like a table. And then we explain like what they're eating. We're like, oh, this is sukiya. Because that's where we'll take them. We'll be like, hey, we're traveling to Japan next year. On these dates. We want to be your food guide for a day. For like 10 to 20 fans. And then if they can possibly meet up, we'll just go on a food adventure. And it'll be freaking awesome. It'll be so much fun. Anyway, so another terrible moment or an unfortunate event that happened during holidaying for me was almost getting killed in Thailand. Bit of an exaggeration.
Your
but,
boys' trip, yeah?
during a boys' trip, we went on the ATVs. And I was a bit rowdy at the start. And the tour guides, they're known to, some of them, not all of them, they're known to scam for foreigners when it comes to ATVs, or when you go on those little jet skis or any kind of tour thing, they'll try to make an extra $1. And basically, I was a bit rowdy. I was yelling a lot. It was my first time on an ATV. I was having a lot of fun. And they noticed, you know, I was standing out. I was being silly. And when we got to a pit stop, they were like checking my ATV and meddling with like the wheel. And all of a sudden, the wheel was straight. Next minute, it was this way. And they blamed it on me and tried to make me pay for damages. But I've been, you know, I always research before I travel, and I always like look up certain scams. And that was one of them.
And he's really good with confronting people. That is something I cannot do, and he's just a natural at it.
So I was just like, what are you guys doing? I know you're trying to scam me. Don't try to pull this sheet on me. All right. And then they finally got it after, you know, they were like, okay, this guy's, you know, been to Thailand a few times. Yeah, you can't scam
like,
this
you'd
guy.
be able to scam someone like me, but you
Yeah.
can't scam someone like you.
Well, I was just blurting out so much BS. I was just saying stuff like, you know, I've been to Thailand 8 times. I've been to ATVs like 100 times. You can't scam me. I know the scams, but it was my first time ever. And they understood that. But then what they did was they didn't fix the wheel because they already kind of did damage to it, fake damage. They made me go on another ATV. And this ATV was just the worst machinery I have ever seen. Like, the pedal was made out of like bamboo straps. The seat was like a chair, like an Asian plastic chair. It was just like, I don't even know how to explain it. Like, it was probably worth $20. That's how much it cost them to make this ATV. It was the worst I've ever seen. I was like, do I really have to get on this one? And they're like, yes. And I was like a little bit worried. And I was like, why do I have to go on this specific one? Anyway, I went on it. I noticed that there wasn't any speed, acceleration. There were no levels to show you how much fuel there was left, but I could notice that the ATV, there was like a really loud sound coming from the engine and a lot of smoke coming out of it, and we had to continue our course, and they kept taking us up this really steep uphill mountain, and I was like really worried because I was like, I'm not sure if this ATV can last. So what I did was I overtook all my friends. I gunned it as hard as I could all the way to the top of the peak of the mountain, and then the ATV stopped, ran out of petrol, and then it just completely went boom. If that went dead on me while I was on that really steep slope, the ATV would have fell backward into a ditch. I could have injured myself. I could have injured my friends. And that's what I think the scammers were trying to do, because when they saw me at the top of the hill with the ATV broken, out of petrol, they gave me this really, really dirty look. Like they were very disappointed, or they wanted something to happen. But, you know, I kind of made it. I could sense that. So then what I did was I was like, you know what? I'm not using this ATV anymore. It's too dangerous. I told them that there was no petrol and I don't feel safe. So I ended up going on my friend's one. I just was on the back. And we had a really silent ATV experience back to the tourist area, because everyone knew what happened. They tried to scam us. They tried to injure me. And everyone had a terrible time. I gave it 1 star. And when I went back home and looked at their website, they actually had a 1.5 out of 5 star rating.
Really?
They were known to be scammers, and a lot of tourists were actually injured during those ATVs. There were cases where people actually were on that ATV, the really shabby one, and the petrol ran out, and they fell into a ditch. This girl had multiple burn wounds
God.
because the ATV fell on her, and the petrol was like or the engine was heating on her leg and she had to go hospital, pay like thousands of dollars at the Thailand hospital. So yeah, kind of got out of a really sticky situation.
But didn't you guys research the place first before you went?
Boys don't really do that. We don't really plan a trip beforehand. We kind of just plan the clubs we want to go to, the bars we want to drink at. Food poisoning, however, probably the worst thing. I got food poisoning 6 hours before our flight home to Melbourne. I have this rule, which is never, ever drink or have any ice in third world Asian countries, like especially Vietnam and places like that. But for some reason, 6 hours before our flight, I saw this little fruit stand and I was like, oh, they have melon crushes. Yum! I would love an icy drink. And then about 4 hours later when we were at the airport, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
my whole soul just plopped out of my
It
body.
was like the worst
My face
I've
was
ever
pale.
seen you.
But basically, I passed out on the toilet at the airport, and it was the first time I ever felt like I had to go to hospital. A lot of our friends are nurses, so thank goodness when we travel, they help us out a lot. When it comes to food poisoning or injuries, they all helped us.
Yeah.
And they took care of me. They knew I needed Hydrolite. I needed a certain sustenance to get me through. And I just had a sleeping pill, to be honest. And then I passed out on the flight because I would not survive that flight without it. I would be in so much pain. I have pandan cake. I love pandan. Oh, this one's really good. It's from HS Cakes. Look how soft this is. Look at that. Oh my god. Look at that. Look at this. Oh! So soft!
Wow. Wow.
Oh, this is amazing. Oh, that's
I
so good.
remembered something. It wasn't like a bad experience, but it was a pretty funny experience, I would say. So we were in Singapore at the W Hotel. It was a time when we went outside to like explore, and then we came back into the room. And remember how like the curtains were all closed and then the bed sheets were all like moved and everything?
We went back into our room, but we didn't ask for any housekeeping. We didn't ask for anything like that. No services. And when we came back into our room, nothing had changed except the curtains. They were closed instead of open, right?
And then the monkey that was on the bed was on the chair.
yeah.
I remember that. And then I was so freaked out
She thought it was a ghost.
because I was like, someone's been in here. Like, I was pretty sure the monkey was on the bed and the curtains were open, but now they're closed. And I was just like freaking out.
You
I
thought it
like,
was supernatural though,
yeah,
right?
I thought there
Yeah.
was actually like a ghost that came in.
Yeah. So
I was like scared the whole time.
that freaked me out, and
and then I scared him.
I was like, what the hell? Like, what? There's a ghost in here. Okay, I started praying, and then you also were
Oh, yeah,
really
you-
scared too.
You started praying. I remember you would just pray
I was like, oh,
in
please,
front of
Dad,
the curtains.
no ghost here, because it didn't really have an explanation for what happened. And the monkey also moved. We thought it was a monkey ghost, the Singapore monkey ghost. That's what we call it. But then we found out that it was just housekeeping. Even if you don't want housekeeping, there's a service that they provide where they still come into your
Yeah.
rooms and they just close the curtains and fix your bed sheets or
Yeah,
something.
just
That's
to, like,
it.
get you ready for bed. So that's why the monkey wasn't on the bed anymore. It was off the bed so you could
Exactly.
get into bed.
But we didn't know that.
We've never heard of anything like that before.
We specifically said no housekeeping, and W Hotel is also a bit like out of
yeah.
like
It's in
outside of
its own
Singapore.
resort area.
Yeah, so it's kind of you don't know what's going on there. Do you ever think there are actual supernatural beings in
No.
hotel rooms?
No.
Or especially when we go
Well,
to.
I try not to believe in it
Yeah,
because I feel like if I believe in it,
then it's true.
yeah.
Yeah, I think there are though. I always get some bad energy
You always say that every time.
at some hotels, some specific hotels. We always try to stay away from hotels number 13 or 4. Level 13 4 is always bad for me. Whenever I get a room that has 13 or 4 in it, I'm just like, oof.
That's because he's really superstitious, though.
I'm like, oof. There's a lot of creepy hotel stories though that have
Really?
happened, especially in America. The Cecile Hotel. Have you heard of that one? It's really creepy.
I don't like listen to like scary stories or watch scary.
Do you want to know
stuff,
what happens
No. Why?
Well, you guys can check it out yourself if you're really interested, but it's just about this.
I'm not interested.
I'm telling the fans, not you. You're just,
But I'm right here.
anyway, so the hotel
I don't
is
want to
known
know.
to
I
be
want to
very
have
haunted.
nightmares. No.
It's hard. I can't say anything now because she's gonna. Once we stop recording, she's gonna be like, "How dare you tell me that ghost story? How am I gonna sleep tonight?
Yep.
You're not going out with the guys tonight because I'm too scared."
I get mad when he tricks me into watching something that's scary.
So Cơm Tấm, Grandma's specialty, my favorite rice dish. Absolutely love it. If you guys want to try a really good Cơm Tấm place, I will put a link in the description. Or no, you know what? Better to film it. I'll film it and then I'll let you guys see it. They do a really nice deep fried pork chop, whereas these pork chops are just pan fried, I think.
Yep.
Yeah. Whereas theirs one is like juicy, very oily. The pork chops are so fatty, so every piece, every cut gets a nice slab of oily, juicy fat. You know, to be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of pork anyway. I think my favorite is beef, then it's chicken, and then lamb, then it's pork. I like a really nice, soft braised pork. That's the only pork I eat. Braised pork. Every other pork, nah, I'm not a fan of.
Pork to me is kind of like mushrooms. Like if I eat it, okay, but I'd rather not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pork is like mushrooms
You
to
just
me.
dislike it.
Yeah.
And plus, you have the pet porky boy back in the day, and you're not going to eat your best friend, are you? However, I would. Maybe
Yeah, you
he's
would.
gone because I ate him.
Wow, that's a bit dark.
Anyway, here's my segue to the end, guys. Cơm Tấm, delicious meal, variety galore.
Wait, but I just want to talk a little bit more.
Okay, what do you want to talk about?
I also want to talk about why we drink so much Pepsi Max and Coke Zero.
Oh, do the people ask? They don't care.
You'll actually be surprised because this is all we drink, and I feel like the inside of our bodies are very unhealthy and messed up.
Well, basically, it burns like the stomach lining, so you don't actually have that much protection in your belly from bacteria, which could also explain why you get more food poisoning.
But that's why your stomach is so weak.
But I need to have a Pepsi Max or any sugar-free drink once every 2 days, minimum.
You have we have a can at least one every day.
Yeah, that's bad.
We have a can every day.
We should stop. We should stop.
We're not going to.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Grandma Cooks Cơm Tấm. If you guys like it, make sure you try it out. They sell it at most Vietnamese restaurants. And I hope you have a wonderful week. We love you, and I will miss you because I won't see you for a while.
Yay! Thank you for eating with us. Love you always.
Bye!